of it, but I could do it electronically too.
Did you have a way?
I could scan it. Oh, yeah, yeah.
Here, the video, please stand and join in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we are going to start with a capital project update. Gentlemen, you're on board.
So, hi, good evening, members of the board. First and foremost, thank you very much for the opportunity to present to you this evening. For those who have not met me yet, my name is Robert, and this is my colleague Sean. We're with Turner Construction, the construction manager for the capital project. So what we're going to do tonight is we want to present to you our monthly update. One thing to keep in mind, this report entails everything accomplished in the month of April. So even though we're a bit through May, this is the report for April. So what we'll do is we're going to start with, we'll just briefly go through the 6 photos that we have on the left side, and then we will transition into the kind of information on the right side of the report. And Sean and I will each take turns reporting out on our respective sections. So to talk to you just about the photos, the top 2 there you see is mainly site drainage piping at the field. So the first one there in the field at the D zone, that's really the end zone, if you will. And then the second one to the right side of the screen is installation of site drainage piping, and that's in the vicinity of where the shot put throw area would be. So on the second row there, on the left, you have the removal and backfill of the existing bleacher foundations. So we've to date, we've poured the piers for that. So that's in anticipation of the new grandstands. And then the photo on the right side is the CEA and the pool building. That's where the pool equipment used to be. So like the chlorination system, the pumps, stuff like that. That was in that room there. That has since all been removed.
Thank you. I was just going to suggest that you do that. Good job.
And then the photos at the bottom, these are also from the CEA pool building. So the one on the left is a photo kind of taken back of the locker rooms. So the locker rooms, as we had an opportunity to tour the board through, the locker rooms have been fully gutted. So all the interior masonry walls have been taken down, all the fixtures, the benches, lockers, all of that has been removed. And then lastly, the picture on the right side is a picture of the pool. It drains down to the shelf. So that will obviously eventually be removed. So those are the photos we have for you. So I'm going to start off with the construction timeline, which is just at the top there. So approximately a 20-month project of pure construction, figuring another 3 months for a closeout, which I don't believe is, it's not shown on the timeline here. So that timeline is really just the construction progress. We are 3 months in, kicked off, buyout contract awarded February 7th. Physically started, shovels in the ground on March 13th. So continuing on then to some of the project issues and concerns. So in terms of the critical issues, the number 1 there is submittals. This is not something that's necessarily hampering the project. This is just something to be mindful of. So submittals are very important because 1, it's the design team and the construction manager's opportunity to ensure that the products being installed on the projects are the ones that are called out for in the specs. So the district is getting what they paid for. And then second, the submittal process is very important because once they get submittals approved, they can then release their orders and order their material. Now, you'll see why that's important later on in this report, but any material that has like extended lead times, it's really important to get out in front of those, get those submittals reviewed and approved. So that way we can start chewing into that lead time. So the second there of the issues is really both of the second and third issues are more or less the same thing. So the relocation of the solar panels. So as you may know, the existing pool building had about 130 solar panels on it. Obviously, we're going to be demoing that building, so those needed to come off the roof to enable the structural demo. We did successfully get that. We engaged a solar contractor, and those have been since removed from the roof. So that critical issue has been overcome. And then in terms of relocating the high voltage, this is something that's still a work in progress. We anticipate this to be completed by the end of the week. There was some other work that was required in order to enable us to get to this. At the concession facility, the relocating power to the barn and the well pump. So that's what we had reviewed with the board on our tour. That did delay our start at the concession facility because the power feed to the existing red barn or pole barn, whatever the term is used. That was powering a freezer in that barn, so we were not able to just outright kill the power and get it out of our way. We had to bring our permanent feed to provide power to that freezer, but we have since gotten that accomplished, gotten the existing power out of the way, and that has enabled us to proceed with the concession facility. And then at the high school field, just the approval of field athletic equipment. Again, this has since been resolved, so that issue is resolved. In terms of concerns, so as we've previously relayed to the board, at the concession facility, the completion by the end of August. Currently, we had a schedule review meeting with our contractors earlier in the week. Currently, we are not trending to meet the end of August. We are now looking towards the end of September. Now, we are working with our team to find opportunities to pull that back in. But just wanted to get out ahead of that to the board that we are trending behind schedule at the concession facility. In terms of the stadium, there are no indications at this time to believe that there's anything preventing us from turning that over at the end of August. So the stadium is still on track. And then really the second two here are more or less the same, which is lead times. So the lead times with HVAC units, specifically ones that have these smart motors, they require those like semiconductor chips, which I'm sure a lot of us have heard the shortages of, and then electrical panels. So electrical panels, huge lead time, 46 weeks. So that will affect some of the functions at the concession facility, specifically the site lighting. We do not believe we'll have a means to provide site lighting. But we're working through that. We're working through that. We have a plan to provide temporary power to the concession facility as well as to the press box.
Great.
So I'm going to turn it over to Sean to talk about some of the metrics and schedule.
Yeah, so just moving down to the workforce metrics. It's just letting you know how many man hours have been worked on the project to date. If we've had any safety incidents, thankfully, knock on wood, we haven't had any to date, and or any near misses. Haven't had any to date, but that's just kind of what that represents, that section. Moving down to the schedule, substantial completion date milestones. These are the major areas of the project that we're tracking. So in the, the contractual completion of the high school stadium is August 25th. We're still projecting to be on August 25th. The concession building is, we talked about, we're trending behind there. Right now, it's pushing out toward the end of September, but want to keep you guys aware that we're working on pulling that back. The high school renovations, looking to get those started this summer and be substantially complete by September. The CEA pool addition, we're already started over there. Looking to be substantially complete early August next year. Don't see any issues with either of those dates as we sit here today. CEA renovation, it's a lot of like interior stuff, just parts and pieces throughout the building, boiler room. We do have a little bit of delay on the boilers, but we're still working through that, and we think we have a plan there, but it shouldn't impact our overall completion date for that. The UPK addition and playground section, we're gonna look to get started out there in June to break the ground and get some utilities relocated and then get started on that addition. So still on schedule there. And then the TRA renovations, majority of the work at that building is going to be next summer. We do want to get in there this summer and do some make ready work, get some abatement out of the way. So, and then, so there's some lead paint that has to be removed too. So make ready work this summer, and then next summer, majority of the work is done there. So just to regroup, and bus garage site work, we've started on the water line out back there, and then looking to wrap all that work up next summer before we finish final pave and everything, but we're gonna be doing additional site work in between now and then.
Quick question on the milestones. Are you going to seek for approval as you meet each milestone? Or are you gonna wait till the end for final project completion?
For like SED,
Yeah,
the architect will probably phased, to answer your question.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Cause obviously there's a phase approach here and I just wondered if you're gonna wait you know, for us to sign off on the high school stadium when this project isn't anticipated to complete until September 2024, right? Or
Right.
or thereafter.
So there'll be some phased turnovers and then
Gotcha.
with that occupancy.
The reason I'm asking is I want to make sure that we know, the school knows, once you sign off, you like can't go back. You're like, the project's complete, or this phase of the project's complete. And we've done everything contractually.
Right.
So if you haven't found anything, there may be additional fees associated with that.
There's a one-
Right, and it kicks in the
Right.
warranty
Okay,
Yeah,
dates
there's a
and,
1-year workmanship warranty.
Oh, good,
so the
okay.
Contractor is.
didn't know about that. All right, excellent.
Within a year, so, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
The next section, any other questions on schedule piece? Next section there is just an overall view of the project budget. The referendum amount with the UPK grant, 29,600,000. And we've got the breakout there of just construction budget and incidental. Incidentals are the soft costs for the project. And below that, we've got a summary of change management. We call it potential change orders, PCOs. Because, and as we open those, we'll record them and report out to you every month. And then from PCOs, they go into change orders. So to date, we're, roughly 12 PCOs through the end of April. We're probably a bit more than that now, maybe up to 18,
19, I think.
19. And we've encumbered about 61,000 for those changes. Now, some of those are hard prices that we've got. Some of them are prices that we're still waiting on. So we put an estimated value of what we think that cost is going to be so that we can make real-time decisions on changes.
And Jillian, real quick, you're authorized to approve up to what?
20,000.
20,000, okay,
So we haven't had any that exceeded that amount.
Yeah.
yet.
okay.
Yep,
And you're basing it on per change order, not collectively,
correct.
right? Okay.
And again, this is the monthly summary report that'll be included in future meetings. There will also be an additional report that'll explain the change order in a little bit more detail. than what-
Yeah, that helps us understand like where the overage is and what happened.
Right. Yep.
There's lots of
That's the reason for it.
variables for it, right?
Change
Okay.
orders aren't always overages either.
No, they're not,
It can be
but most often they are.
Yeah.
At least in my experience.
So the next section below that is contractor payments through the end of April. And that essentially is the adjusted contract value for the general contractor that would include any change orders. And then the amount paid to date and a percentage. So I think just globally looking to the lower right-hand corner there, you look to see 14% has been paid out on the overall capital project to date. And that includes soft costs and contractor payments. Any questions on either of those? They're just. Good.
So in terms of the QA/QC report, so a lot of the work, we've just really largely gotten started. So you can see we haven't produced a ton of the QA/QC reports. A number of those are in draft mode.
Can you
So-
review that acronym real quick, Rob?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so.
Yeah,
yes, of
people
course,
like- I
yeah,
was gonna say-
QA stands for quality assurance
Right.
and QC quality control.
Yes,
So this is our opportunity as well as the design team's opportunity to walk the site, put eyes on the field. And again, just to ensure that it's being installed the right way, properly, safely. And, again, just going back to the district is getting what they paid for. But yes, thank you for that question. So we will have further reports to come, especially once the workload really starts to kick into gear here. You should expect to see a lot more of the QA/QC reports. In terms of upcoming material deliveries, so a number of these, again, these are, since this was the April report, we're projecting for May here. So stone for the field, this is the stone blanket to which the turf will eventually sit on. That is a big milestone for us. Underground conduit, this has been delivered. Again, I'm kind of cheating the May report a bit, but that's all right. Storm structures has been delivered and installed. The fill stone and then the field lights. So the field lights there tracking for July, but we're happy to say that a lot of these material deliveries have already been delivered to site. In terms of field reports, so the district has entered into an agreement with Atlantic Testing Laboratories to provide special inspection services for the capital project. So we have called them a few times to date, mainly for GPR. GPR stands for ground penetrating radar. Basically, what we do is we have them go survey the areas where we're going to dig so that we can just discover if there's any underground utilities that may not have been known or may not be shown on the drawings. Because, you know, of course, you don't want to hit a high voltage electrical line and get someone hurt. That's like a worst case scenario. So that's a very good investment of money. Additionally, compaction testing, concrete testing, and then just like soil analysis. So these are some of the inspections we've had in the month of April. And then just to talk about the upcoming work. So again, at the high school stadium, wrapping up underground utilities and then getting that stone blanket put down. For the concession facility, excavation and foundations, as well as the underground utilities, so the water and sanitary. For the CEA pool, so the relocation of the underground facilities, that's what we showed the board, that sanitary line we relocated, so that has been completed. The relocation of the solar panels, which has been completed, and then starting structural demo. So we will be starting structural demo coming back from Memorial Day weekend. And then lastly, the bus garage, the new water service, so that is, that's been ongoing, that started last week, and that is ongoing. So then continuing down, any questions about the upcoming work? Sorry, not to move off that. Okay, so then just wrapping up our report here, the engineering summary. So there's really 3 sections here within this one. So request for information, otherwise abbreviated as RFI. So to date, we've had 31 total. There are 7 open. This is a bit outdated. Right now, we have about 47, and I think there's only 6 of them open. So this is the contractors. RFIs are really where the contractor asks a formal question to the design team. And the response becomes part of the contract document. So it does hold a little bit more weight than just an email or obviously a verbal conversation, because it is in writing. So that's the premise behind an RFI. Submittal is kind of what we touched on earlier. So there's a lot of submittals. I think there's something like 960 submittals total. You can see the metrics here. They're in a variety of different places. Some of them open, the ones that have been closed, and then close out submittals, which we'll see later on in the project. But again, the submittal process is very important, especially for those long lead items we touched on. And then the special inspections, that is just a summary of the inspections from ATL. And luckily, the good thing there is that open NCDD. NCDD stands for non-compliant deficiency, or what deviation, I think is the last D. So there are 0 of those, which is great. That means everything is conforming, and we're meeting the thresholds we need to. So, and then lastly is punch list items. That's still a bit further out. That'll be once we hit substantial completion, then the design team does a punch list inspection. So, but yeah. There's a lot of stuff in there in the report, lot to digest. That is a capital project. There is a lot of moving pieces going on. So are there any questions from the board about anything we've touched on?
I do appreciate the format of this. In all the construction projects that that we've done while I've been on the board, we've never really had such a nice, concise report, and it's nice to see that. I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was actually gonna second that. This is an excellent high-level project schedule that gives a lot of information on one page. And you guys are doing a fantastic job. This is a huge project and overall on schedule, and the feedback we're getting from you and the updates is excellent. So nice job.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I agree. We've done a lot of building projects, and this is super nice. So if this speaks to the quality of what we're going to expect, you set your bar pretty high just with this piece of paper here. So
Thank you.
good, thank you.
I want to thank you all because I'm here every morning almost, and I just appreciate the fact that I'm seeing some of our local contractors being able to be part of this project and be able to earn some money that's connected. And that was one of the important things when we hired you, is that you would be able to do that. And I appreciate you standing to that.
And thank you again for the tour.
Yeah,
earlier.
that was great.
And the hat.
Yeah. Chris loves her hat. You guys, she wore this. And she was proud, and she even took a selfie. Yeah, backwards.
That's okay. I'm gonna go to college with my college students and say, just come on.
I think you should put something on the top
I
of
love
sticker.
that.
Yeah, I think you need to add a sticker to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Portland Red, there you go. It is
Thank
Portland.
you.
You're bragging on us.
No, just
She
put
works
a
at
hazardous
Portland
work
College.
zone. Wherever you're at.
Yeah, this is really nice. Whoever created this, excellent job. Format is great.
Thank you again.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time this evening.
Yes, thank you very
Thank you,
much.
guys. Have a good evening. Thank you.
Okay, there is no need for an executive session now, but we will have one after the meeting. Correspondence, there is none. Policies for first reading. Approve the removal of policy number 6213, policy on probation and tenure for first reading. May I have a motion? Thank you, Brian. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. Any questions or comments?
So this policy, you notice it's 1991, but it's, we currently still have. It is wrong. What it outlines is not what, education law outlines, and we know also that, especially in the last 15 years, there's been a number of changes in those rules. So again, this is an instance when these rules are beyond us, and it's not really, something that the board can institute. It just is what it is, what, education law tells us. So my recommendation for this policy, besides it needs to actually be removed, I don't think we should even replace it because,
It's prescribed by
It's
state
prescribed.
law, so there's,
right,
Everything we have to do to hire somebody who's in state.
right.
Yep.
And if we did institute something that would just replicate it, we probably have to like change it repeatedly as it, education law changes it.
no, it makes sense to any of the policies that we've done so far that we're removing for that reason. It makes sense to not have one because we can't do anything about it and keeping things up to date.
And in a way, it makes it seem like it's our rule, like we're somehow arbitrarily coming up with a rule that we may not even agree with, I mean,
Yeah.
so.
Does the board have any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the removal of policy number 7230, matriculation policy for first reading. May I have a motion? Thank you, Tom. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. Is this,
This is the same idea in the effort to streamline policy. This may be removed as its concurrent enrollment with the high school included, but it is already in our course guide. So I included both of those. So you have the 1991 policy about matriculation, and then you can also see where in our course guide, we talk about concurrent enrollment, dual enrollment, the things that are available to our students.
any questions from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approved policy number 5331, use of credit cards for first reading. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. And a second? Thank you, Brian. Questions, comments?
Yep, so, as you can see, me, Joanne, and Shannon were a little busy since the last meeting. But this policy, again, we're trying to review all the policies for their, I guess really their current use and compare that to Area 1 versus what's required versus what state law. All the financial policies will be getting reviewed. This one kind of jumped the radar a little bit. When we had external auditors asking us specifically for our credit card policy. And we started looking at it, we're like, yeah, that one is just needs updated sooner than later. And as you can see in the policy, it specifically, it has been updated since 2005. It lists specific credit line limits, which we have no control over that. Honestly, the companies typically add to it or subtract from it depending on the year. But what we do as a board is every reorg meeting, we authorize the current credit cards and their annual limit. So it was a little outdated. So I did look at the Area 1. It was much more reflective of our current procedures. So again, I would be recommending shifting from getting rid of that old policy to adopting the new Area 1.
Makes sense. Any questions from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve policy number 6150, policy on alcohol, drugs, and other substances for first reading. May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Chris. In a second.
I'll second.
Thank you, Kiana.
So this policy is not quite as old. 2011 was the last time it was reviewed. But there are some changes in the world of what's illegal and what's not illegal. And, there's a new Erie One policy that also puts some explicit language regarding what can happen if an employee is, well, and which is not in the original policy in
Right.
quite the same way. And I think that language is important to have so that if somebody was under the influence while they were at work, there would be some clear documented consequence that, we would be following. And that, could potentially be different from district to district, and it is why, even though it's not required to have, I think it is in our interest to have that in our policy.
Any questions from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approved policy 6151, personnel for first reading. May I have a motion? Thank you, Brian. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kiana.
And this is 2011, was the last time this was updated also, and there's some changes in language in the Erie One recommendation that I think also just makes sense for us. It also allows us to have something that says that it was reviewed in 2022. So it is a required policy, so I think we should have the most updated recommended version.
Any questions from the board?
Just like one
Oh,
question, I guess.
Yep.
So the policy, is it called personnel or is it called drug-free workplace?
It's called drug-free work.
But up top it says personnel.
In the personnel
In
section,
the personnel section.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
that's where
okay.
you guys say that.
so.
Yeah. So it's,
615 should be drug-free workplace. The policy, right?
Yeah, it says, it's in our current policy, it says that the subject, the subject line.
okay.
Yes, 6151. I'm not sure what you're saying.
On the agenda,
In the
Oh,
the
in
agenda
the-
it says,
oh.
just says personnel.
Yeah.
Right,
Right.
right.
it should say we're updating policy.
Yes, yes, there-
Okay.
Yep.
Drug-free workplace, so that would be a change, obviously, sorry.
Brian and Tiana, are you okay with
Yes.
updating your motions to include drug-free workplace?
Yes, please.
Important catch there, Mr. Woodard, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve policy number 6152/7321, policy on substance abuse for first reading. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tom.
So this is 1992, this policy is from, and it is all wrong. It's not, so that, and it all is not required, and the things that are required that are contained within it, like substance abuse prevention, education, are things that we have to do again by education law. So in this, I think all of these things about referral, and we do have an EAP program, but it's not like this, and potentially could change over time. So I don't know, it's not a required policy, it's not really a recommended policy. I don't know that we need it. And we definitely don't need it in its current form because it's absolutely.
Okay, on our agenda though, it says it's for first reading, not for removal.
Yeah, it would be for removal.
So real quick, this one.
I mean, that was for discussion, really. I mean,
Right.
Okay. Got
I
it.
mean, that would
Policy
be,
on substance abuse.
yeah,
So you're not, okay, so it's 6152 and 7321.
it's,
Right, because one's for students, one's
Yeah.
for personnel.
Right, okay, so it's both of them, and you're recommending to remove it completely because it's not applicable.
it's not recommended that we have this policy by either, it's not required nor the school, by the, Erie One. It contains a lot of things in it that, would very definitely change through time.
Right,
And the things that are in it that we're required to do, we're required to do by education law.
okay,
But it's also, I mean, it does contain something about an EAP program, which is nice, but the problem is that that does also change over time.
right,
And I don't know that it needs to be policy. But and the reason,
Where would the EAP policy,
Well,
Where would it be listed otherwise if it's not in a policy?
doesn't.
Well, it's not required for
Not
us to
required.
have an EAP plan.
Okay.
We just started offering it a few years ago. But some of the policies we've adopted over the years have referenced referring employees to EAP plans. But technically, in a crunch, we may or may not have to consider that as a budget consideration.
Okay, so if we do have an EAP plan at one moment in time, where is that listed?
It's not a policy, so it wouldn't be a policy. It would be something that we offer for employees, right?
Okay, so it would be like in an employee handbook or something
Yes.
like that, okay.
Yes, and we give them the information on it.
Wow, it's just like being home.
But again, if it's policy, then it's something that you have to have.
Right, okay, I was just curious, like, if we have one, how would it be known? So, like,
Personnel.
When we hire,
HR.
yes, for your HR policy, and then I personally remind people that all the time, that it's there, use it, take advantage of it.
I guess I just wanted to make sure in my own head that
Yeah.
if we're getting rid of this policy and we do have an EAP, how would it be known? So,
Yeah.
thank you.
So the way this is worded then, that we're discussing it now for the first reading and it would be suggested to be
Yes.
removed next time as the
Right.
second reading. Okay.
The board is in favor of that.
Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
And we would not have, there is no even model for us to work on because it's not a recommended policy.
okay.
EAP is one of those things that comes and goes with the budget too. It's
Right.
very, very, I mean, we always are struggling with the campus for EAP and it's not a mandatory.
And so again, this has been since 1992, and as Zach said, we just added an EAP program. We didn't have it for years and years, so we were violating our policy.
So
You did have one.
I would be fine with for our second reading, for it to be recommended to be removed. Are there any other questions from the board?
no,
All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approved policy number 5761, drug and alcohol testing for school bus drivers for first reading. May I have a motion? Was that Tom and Tiana?
No, it was Brian and Chris, but that's great.
That was close.
Oh, my God.
We all jumped in.
I heard Tom, so he's still the move by, and I heard a female voice, so that had to have been Chris. I have to start rolling dice to see the answers. Okay. What's the recommendation?
So this actually is not that old. Thank you for everybody who was involved in the 2019. I think I was involved with that, but there are some changes in the requirements. This is a required policy. This is Erie One's new recommended policy, because some of the procedures are different now. So it'll be an update. Replace it with the Erie One.
For all the drug testing and everything else, right?
Yes, obviously, bus drivers getting sensitive is a great.
Any questions from the board? Okay, all those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstaining? Okay, policies for second reading. Approved policy number 6120, equal employment opportunity for second reading. May I have a motion?
so moved.
Thank you, Tiana. And a second.
Second.
Thank you, Chris.
So this is the second reading, as we discussed last time. This is just updating Erie One suggested new language to meet new requirements. This is a required policy.
Any questions from the board? Okay, all those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the removal of policy number 6120.1, equal opportunity for second reading. May I have a motion? So moved. Thank you, Chris. And a second?
second.
Thank you, Tiana.
This one is not required by law, not required, and it also. Everything that was in our outdated policy is required by law. So we'll just remove policy and then just follow.
Go by law. Any questions from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, that brings us to our first opportunity of two for comments from the public. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to convene into public comment period of our meeting. Although state law does not require us to hold a public comment period, we have chosen to do so because we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns and issues. Having said that, please note that the board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a discussion. Accordingly, please do not expect the board to respond to your concerns and questions tonight. This is because we take your concerns and questions seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be. We will, however, respond to your questions and concerns at a future meeting or have the proper staff member get back to you at the appropriate time. The district clerk will be keeping track of questions and make sure they are passed to the appropriate person or persons. I also want to point out that under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to entertain any comments or questions about school personnel. Please know, however, that we take personnel concerns very seriously. On these matters, we would ask you to go through the appropriate administrative channels. Finally, we recognize that right now our nation and our community are polarized on a number of issues. That said, we want our school board meetings to serve as an example to our students that members of our school board and members of our community can deal with controversial issues in a civil manner and demonstrate mutual respect for one another. In that spirit, we will insist that all speakers and members of the audience maintain civility and respect for any divergent views that others possess. We ask that speakers please address their comments to the board directly rather than to the audience. In the unlikely event the meeting becomes unruly, the board will recess the meeting and return once order has been restored. The board will now entertain public comments. Each individual speaker is allotted 3 minutes. The individual time limits will be enforced so that as many members of the public who wish to speak may be allowed to do so. Please state your name and residency before you begin. And as another reminder, there is a second opportunity at the end of the meeting as well. All that being said, is there anybody who would like to speak up this evening? Crickets. Okay.
Good job on your reading. though.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I practice
Yeah, you do good.
at night in front of the mirror, just, you know. Okay, that brings us to commendations.
Okay, we've got lots. We would like to commend high school junior Rihanna Quayle for giving back to the community through Rihanna's Passion Project, which supports 4-H members with their animal science projects. I think there's actually a news
Yes,
coverage. Does everybody see that?
yes.
We'll have to send that out to you.
That was
If
really
you haven't
nice.
seen it, it's very cool. TRA head cook, Ms. Mattia, and the TRA food service staff for all the special breakfast that they serve to all TRA students, over 500 students during the 4 days of the ELA and math state testing. Starting the day with a nutritious breakfast helped promote a positive mindset and helped our students to be test ready. The Whitney Point Central School District Safety Coordinator, Carolyn Goligly, for her work on the application to earn the district a Utica National Insurance Group's School Safety Excellence Award. Whitney Point was awarded the highest award, Titanium with honors. Carrie does a great job. And while Carrie also, I'd like to commend her for her good work. We just had a very intense audit from state ed on our recovery funds, and it was a lot of documentation and a lot of precision went into her work to make sure that that review went very well, and state ed ended up saying that it was like a model, and did we mind sharing what we had done with other districts?
Nice.
So she walked into a lot of that work and has done a great job. So thank you, Carrie. Mrs. Pullen and the TRA 6 through 8 grade band for their spring band concert held on May 4th, 2023. Mr. McAllister, Mr. D'Imperio, and the 5th grade band and 4th and 5th grade choruses for their spring concert held on May 10th, 2023. Actually, I think Mr. D'Imperio was in the 6th through 8th grade band concert also on the stage playing with the kids. Mr. Matthews and the TRA 6 through 8 grade chorus for their spring concert held on May 11th, 2023. Whitney Point TRA health teacher, Miss Alston, for her nomination for WBNG's News Teacher Appreciation Week. Whitney Point TRA Special Education teacher Mrs. Baumlin for being featured on WPNG 12 News as part of her Teacher Appreciation Week. Whitney Point High School valedictorian Kirsten Gers and salutatorian Carly McGrath. Congratulations to both of them on their achievements. And then the following Whitney Point High School seniors for their placement in the top 10 of the Whitney Point High School graduating class of 2023. Kirsten Gers, Carly McGrath, Magdalena Jordan, Ellie Frisket, Caitlin Merlin, Holden Maslin, Anna Holacek, Benjamin Cook, Sarah Summers, and Cassie Hayes. Congratulations to all of them.
Would you say Sarah Summers is who?
Sarah Summers
Cassie
and Cassie Hayes.
There was an updated
Oh, there's
agenda because the last number 10 was incorrect in our agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry. And then I'm gonna move on to the addenda. High school senior Grant Smith, who received a certificate from the Broome County Legislator Matt Hildebrand for fixing the Dorchester Overlook sign roof. The Whitney Point Rotary Club reached out to the school to see if any students had interest in this project, and Grant immediately came to his teacher's mind. Following high school music students' participation in area all-state that was held, we just got these names, so February 3rd and 4th, so it was a while ago. Kirsten Gers, Garrett Tupi, and Logan Griffith. And the following students for participation in all-county chorus: Bree Bechtel, Caleb Cheeseman, Zachary Collins, Parker Campo, Kirsten Gers, Leah Griffith, Chris Holcomb, Owen Hubbard, Addison Hubbard, Bentley Jandrew, Ian McCullum, Kylie McMine, Mason Morehouse, Riley O'Neill, Faith Purdom, Autumn Sherwood, Elijah Summers, David Tupi, and Garrett Tupi. And the following students for participation in all county band: Logan Burke, Riley Burke, Celia Calise, Zachary Collins, Emma Dye, Alex Ellerson, Evelyn Lynch, Peyton Martin, and Valerie Rodriguez. And Mr. Jones, Liz Pullen, and Sheila Davies, and the high school band and chorus for their rankings at the competition at festival in Disney. Chorus was rated good, and the band was rated good. Let's see their scores there. Okay. The TRA and high school students for their participation in NISMA solo and ensemble festival. Instrumental participants were for level 4, Evelyn Lynch, grade 7, clarinet, Zachary Collins, grade 9, trombone. Level 3, Elijah Baker, grade 8, timpani. Level 2, Logan Burke, grade 6, tuba. Violet Frost, grade 6, piano. Asa Doherty, grade 7, snare drum. Mackenzie Price, grade 8, timpani. Level 1, Laura Stevens, grade 5, percussion. Christine Barrows, grade 5, clarinet. Gabby Stevens, grade 5, clarinet. Jared Ackerley, grade 5, clarinet. Poppy Mullen, grade 5, clarinet. Archer McIntyre, grade 5, clarinet. Olivia French, grade 5, percussion. Charlie Abbott, grade 6, also saxophone. Vocal participants, level 6. Zachary Collins, grade 9, bass. Mickey Smith, grade 10, bass. Logan Griffith, grade 10, bass 1. Owen Hubbard, grade 11, bass 1. Ian McCullum, grade 11, bass 2. Garrett Tupi, grade 11, tenor 1. David Tupi, grade 11, tenor 1. Level 5, Alice Richardson, grade 7, alto. Kaylee Nichols, grade 10, soprano. Christine Holcomb, grade 11, soprano. Level 4, Leah Griffith, grade 6, soprano. Destiny Keller, grade 9, soprano. Max Juraska, grade 10, alto. Ellie Rout, grade 8, alto. Mercedes Tonkin, grade 8, soprano. Level 2, Autumn Shepherd, grade 6, soprano. Gracie Bailey, grade 8, soprano. Addison Rombach, grade 8, alto. And level 1, Kristen McMullen, grade 7, alto. And Mr. Jones and the high school chorus for earning a silver rating at the NISMA Majors competition held in Owego on May 15th, 2023. So lots of wonderful music happening tonight too, all in the district.
Yep. There's like concerts every week.
Yeah.
Okay, old business, there is none. New business, we have an athletics presentation with Ms. Hayes.
Okay, so if not, I'm sure Shannon will help. And Shannon, there's a couple, one video and the website too that I might need to. Thank you. Good evening, everybody. How are you? Because sports have been fun and exciting because the sunshine has been out lately. So I hope you've been out to enjoy it somehow in your world as well as maybe visited some sports. So I'm here tonight to give you a report on the Department of Athletics, Health and Physical Education. And I'm going to ask Shannon to just touch and show us the website right there on the page. It's the clicks. Oh, yep, whoever has the, never mind, we got it.
Okay.
I didn't know who was driving it. Go to athletics. You. Take it there. It's up to the top in the little corner. See it? On the site. I'll site if we can. So I just wanted to draw your attention, if you haven't visited, Alex and Michelle, who are our PR BOCE staff individuals, they worked really hard to collaborate with Teresa and I to make it the most user-friendly and informational website for the athletic department, because we, in those maroon boxes, really try to categorize all the information so students and parents could see it readily, as well as it has in the middle section has the most current information for whatever season we're in. And then each season has the sports listed for each sport and the contact information for how to email the coaches, as well at the bottom. They helped add student pictures that we hope to update again, and celebrations of things that we have accomplished. So I've studied a lot of websites through various districts to try to come up with the best athletic webpage for our community and our families to navigate. So if you're on it and you have any feedback, I welcome, because it's live and we're always trying to enhance it. So I just wanted to share and thank Michelle and Alex for helping reorganize it and rebrand it and make it look great with all the Whitney Point logo.
It looks great
So,
and
thank you.
very easy to read too. I took a look at it.
Appreciate it. So the Health and Physical Education Department, we have been working very hard on professional learning communities, which is the initiative that all of the educational staff has been focused on this year. And we have really, as a department with health and phys ed teachers, worked on that collaborative culture and focus on our reflection and our results, and thinking about those 4 critical questions that all teachers have been using as their sounding board is what we want them to learn, how they want them to learn them, how we responded, if they haven't, and what have they already learned. And together we are improving and working on our curriculum, as well as taking the national and the state standards for health and phys ed and putting them through the real criteria to see which ones are most essential. And then we are each department meeting looking at that quarter and seeing how we have accomplished 3 to 5 of those essential standards, and we've seen which trends and reflection, and then what common formative assessments that we should be doing in phys ed and health. And they are not subject areas where there's a regents or there's not specific mandates like a state test. So, we have some local decisions to make based that are aligned to the standards, which allow us to collaborate with the high school teachers, both teachers coming up with consistent assessments amongst themselves that make sense for the units that we're teaching. And I'm going to show you some samples. Health and phys ed do have state and regulations as to how many minutes and what grade levels they're offered. So elementary education for health, is done within the classroom, infused in the subject areas. And then the secondary health, it's in the middle school equivalent to a half-year course, and at the high school, half-year credit. And then for physical education, K through 3 daily, and then 4-8, 3 times a week. And the rotation of a 6-day cycle of 120 minutes. And the same goes for the middle school level. And at the secondary level, they have to have a half-year credit of phys ed to graduate. And again, that's every other day throughout the year, unless the student has a unique situation, then they would do it every day for, half a year. So we are always striving to be in compliance and do our best to offer as much health and physical education we can here at Whitney Point. So our teachers are very fortunate. They are part of the BT BOCES leadership opportunities where they go to BOCES, get professional development, and they collaborate with other regional health and phys ed teachers to offer the best content we can. And as you can see, elementary, we're working on functional motor and manipulative skills. And then we're doing that in combination at the higher levels of elementary, moving into more specific sports related skills in 6 through 8, and then more competency through 9 through 12, as well as lifetime activities. And you can see all the things like physical literacy and character education and differentiated instruction for students who have adaptive phys ed. Those are things and topics that they work at those regional meetings to better our practice locally. And these are the state standards, and I have been fortunate in the last few years to be on the state education department committee that wrote the state standards. So I would go to Albany either virtually or during COVID or in person to the state education department with about 50 people from higher ed to people from the city to people from our professional organization of all grade levels. And these are the standards, and the bolded parts are the things that we are focusing most on: motor skills, strategies and tactics, health enhancing activities and fitness, social and personal behavior, the value of and enjoyment of physical activity and career opportunities, resources, and overall wellness. So as you can see here, how this comes to light when we're looking at our essential standards. So these are some examples of the CEA PE standards that the teachers have identified that are important within team building, a volleyball unit and a rhythmic unit. So you can see pictures of them with the balloons. They're working on bumps and sets to align to that volleyball standard. And you can see the team building, the using of all different kinds of equipment and household activities, showing kids how they can collaborate together and again align to that standard. And then the rhythmic and dance unit. That's actually a video, the rhythmic and dance one, if you can hit play for that.
Oh, they're pretty good.
It makes me so joyful. And the part that I love about it is it's interdisciplinary. So they're, thinking about math as well as physical education, and then also collaborating with the music teachers and thinking how, and the students had to come up with a partner, their own routine. And then you see some students watching them. So those students are learning how to assess their peers. So it's higher order thinking when the kids become part of developing and designing what they're doing versus just teacher directed instruction.
That's great.
Hope it's gonna. So then I just wanted to show you also with, here is another piece of what formative assessment looks like. So they were doing an activity that had to do with teamwork and cooperation. And so this is 3rd grade. So the CEA teachers had the students do a self-reflection as to, what do the definitions mean? How did they think they accomplished it? What did they think they were the best key terms and vocabulary? So, the teachers are really trying not only for the psychomotor, which is the movement part of phys ed, but they're also trying to make sure that kids have thinking and the effective piece about how to work with other people. So here's an example of the TRA. This is the gymnastics unit. And again, the kids had to come up with their own routines and worked collaboratively. And Mr. Coyer does a really cool thing at part of his daily expectations that he has them come at the end of whatever they're learning and do an appreciation, an apology, and an aha moment. So they might sound like, oh, I really appreciated that my teamwork decided to pick this balancing things, and I chose to be the one that, you know, was going to work with my other member, and we got along while doing that. And someone might say, well, I apologize because I wasn't very as good a listener to my friend. Next time I want to listen better so we can do our balances at a faster rate. And an aha moment was, oh, I learned, you know, doing a handstand can be challenging. So every time they finish class, kids can volunteer and do that reflection about what they are working on. And this has really helped the climate and culture of his classes. Here's another example of how the standards are aligned with assessment for middle school TRA with the swim unit, which we are so excited about the new pool, but they were doing survival skills. So these were real life scenarios, and the students were working in the pool with teams, and they had to read the scenario, which was on a cone on the deck, and then they had to decide if they were going to tread water, survival float, or back float. And then they had to, on the bus ride back to the TRA, to use all their time, very important, and not waste any minute of class, including riding the bus. They had to write a reason why they chose that float with their teammates when they were in that scenario, thinking about how they could survive if they were in an accident or injury, boating, you know, water skiing, fishing, so on and so forth. So it's really great to watch them physically do things, but it's also very fascinating that the thinking behind why a student made those decisions and choices and what they learned. So some of you might have driven recently right up to the front lawn, and it's been really enjoyable out my window, but the high school kids were really trying to teach them lifelong activities. And so Miss Wayne did a really cool thing and taught them bocce ball the other day, and they really got into it, and they came outside and you know, they were really measuring and checking the score and thinking about their strategy. And we know these type of things can bring families together and can be done at local parks and can be done, you know, on camping trips. And so just what can these students do to learn things that they can bring into their real lives beyond the physical education setting. So shifting to health standards. So these are the health standards, and right now the health standards at New York, we're lobbying really hard with the Commissioner of Education and the legislators. I'm on a committee at you know, New York State AFERD, because we have not had someone at the State Education Department for over 12 years. So the standards are 1996. So our health teachers use the national standards, which are more up to date. So as you can see here, health promotion and disease, analyze influence, access valid information and products, interpersonal communication skills, decision-making skills, goal setting, and advocacy. So our two health teachers really focus on giving the kids the knowledge and the skills to be able to, you know, be able to advocate for themselves, decide, communicate, no matter what challenge they have in their life. And they can put them through simulations and, you know, group scenarios and reflection pieces and projects, but you really think it comes to life, you know, when you see them have to challenge in their personal settings with their friends in school and outside of school. So we're hoping we give them the tools to be able to navigate all of those health decisions. And here's a beautiful picture of the 4th and 5th grade recently getting a mental health and social emotional learning and growth and development. We also partnered with Lord's Adept for the All-Star program, and they received 10 weeks of health education in 6th, 7th, and 8th. In high school, they have to have a health half-year course, and we've done this really amazing partnership with BCC and offer a half year of credit for college and personal success strategies. And they did a lot of incredible projects, but one I wanted to highlight that Ellie Priskett did was that she worked with her mom as being an educator, and they wanted to help improve student attendance. And so her project was to go on Mondays and Fridays to help students in social studies, math, and reading, and she recruited her other high school friends, and they worked during their study halls to go over there and help with their academics and see how excited the kids were to start their week off and make sure that they finish their week on Fridays and improve that relationship with student mentors and CEA students to help have something to look forward and to learn with a partner from the high school. So I thought that was really exciting, and that came out of that personal success strategy course run by Mr. Ferrer.
Murphy's at Valerie's daughter.
Yes.
Very nice.
Yeah, Valerie's daughter is quite achieved and will be doing communications at SUNY Cortland, and that is an amazing program. So I've heard a lot about her. So, and Valerie, if you don't know, is a literacy teacher at our school district. So it's great to see our teachers' children succeed.
Thank you for that.
It's great.
I just wanted to bring your attention, sometimes we think about the health of our students, but we're really trying to think about health comprehensively. And so there are two tools called the HECAT and the PCAT, and those two tools help us do like a gap analysis as to how we are doing as a school district through our PPS services, through our nutrition services, through our safety, employee wellness, family engagement. So there's a lot more pieces beyond the health and phys ed and athletic department. It reaches far and wide that many of our staff members are making sure that we have a healthy and well culture and climate here at Winnie Point Central School District. And the ultimate goal is to improve knowledge, attitudes, and skills, to improve behaviors, to improve the educational outcome and social outcome. So we know that people are healthy and well, they're better able to engage in learning and then, be able to succeed and graduate. So as we, navigated through COVID in the past, we saw how, if you're not healthy and well, that doesn't allow you to be able to accomplish some things that we try to do here at school. So, if we can improve people's health and wellness, they're able to learn at a better rate. And another area that our PPS staff and our overall teachers and all of maybe from transportation into food service into our aides and our leaders, we're always trying to think about the mental health and emotional health of our students and how we help them self-regulate, as well as how do they build relationships and how do they access the resources, not only at school, but in our communities and greater Broome, to be able to have good mental health. And so, that is a topic I think that we're more aware of, and we do a better job than we did years and years ago, and especially with suicide prevention, just trying to keep everybody safe. So it's one of the areas that are really important. Does anybody have any questions before I shift to athletics?
I just have one statement. I know we don't have one, but it would be my goal someday to see a health educator in the elementary level. A lot of school districts have a health teacher at the elementary level that rotates in and out, and it doesn't leave it all to in-class teaching. And someday I'd like to see that happen here soon at Winnie Point, and I just wanted to make mention of that.
Thank you. So if we shift to interscholastic athletics, a lot of people who don't have about a background now about interscholastic athletics, they compare it to maybe other type of sports opportunities that are club or travel. And really the New York State Public High School Athletic Association, which is the overarching governing body of sports, is really an educational based, and it's an extension of the classroom. So it's a curricular program. It's not just specific to always being competitive or winning. That's one piece of it. As you can see, competency, character, civility, and citizenship. But it's really about having people have that educational approach in a different setting beyond maybe the classroom. So one of the areas that the coaches, have professional development on is skill development. We're trying to always make sure our teams and our student athletes have the knowledge and strategies of the games and that they're fit and healthy and well to participate. We're also trying very hard to teach them about character, how to be accountable, trustworthy, have self-control. And this has really been a focus of Section 4, especially around sportsmanship. It's something that nationwide, people are struggling to be able to understand and keep athletics into perspective and to have good demeanor and conduct at athletic contests. And so the NFHS and the New York State Public High School Athletic Association, Section 4 in our league have really tried to emphasize that. Also, the civility of that, just being caring and respectful to people in this setting and being good citizens, having good teamwork and being role models for others. So lots of times when people call us for phone calls or questions, they might think that the athletic director or the coaches came up with these guidelines, procedures, policies, but as you can see, we are governed by New York State Education Department. We are governed by the National Federation, the New York State High School Athletic Association, Section 4 and league. So if anybody wants to read lots of rule books, I have many online and in paper, but that's where all of this guidance and conduct and rules and procedures come from. And within our Board of Education, I know you're reviewing policies, but the policies that are specific to sports here at Whitney Point, we have coaches without pay, school volunteers, community use of facilities, sports and athletic programs, minimum sports conduct, the academic eligibility one, the athletic placement, and student physicals for sports and concussion management. So those are ones that I'm constantly using to process and conduct the athletic program through those policies. So I have a few graphs. This is our participation rates. As you can see here, it's about 30% across grade levels. Some grade levels only have 85 in the graduating class. Some have 103. But this is an improvement since COVID. It could be a little bit better past, 5-6 years ago. Our rates were a little higher, more towards the 40%. So I do see kids engaging and recovering more and understanding that they have the opportunity to play sports. And it's way better than it was last year and the prior year during COVID. But we have some room to invite more students to participate.
Murphy, just because it's really hard to read even on the printout that we have here. So is the white, does it say club sport? Is that what it is?
No, that's the number of in the class that's participated. So for instance, the 12th grade has about 85 students and about 20, maybe like 32 of them play sports.
What's the blue bar? Because
The blue bar,
here and I can't see
sure.
it up there.
The blue part is how many kids are in that graduating class. That cohort.
Okay, it's just, I can't read it on this paper.
Yeah, you
And it's
can't.
really.
It's dark.
Yeah, so the blue, dark blue is the graduating number, so that there's 85 kids graduating in the 12th grade, and there's 32 that play sports in the 12th grade in the fall.
The white is the percentage, right? Thank you.
And this would be per sport. So you've got, cross country, modified varsity, field hockey, varsity, junior varsity, modified. So the individual sports, you'll see, some of the lower numbers, the team sports, you'll see some higher numbers. You also need more players to play football than you do to run 5 people for cross country. So each sport lends itself to a different number because the configuration on the field is slightly different. You don't need as many volleyball players as you do soccer players on the court. So, coaches also keep minimum amount of kids. We don't, especially at the modified level, we make no cuts, but at the varsity, it depends how many students come out and how competitive the team, if we have to make those decisions based on a rubric and rating the kids, if that choice is made or not. So you see here in winter is the longest season, but it has the least amount of sports offered. And again, sports like basketball only need 5 players on the court. So our participation rates per grade level are lower in the winter than they are maybe fall and spring. But again, there's less offerings, and the type of sports are individual or sports that don't need as much participation. And that's participation based on teams. And you'll see the modified kids, I love to see, because our league provides the opportunity. So modified volleyball is in the winter, but it really is a fall sport. So the girls have an opportunity to try out basketball and try out volleyball. So when they get to high school, they can make a choice. So you'll see the numbers are really high because kids are exploring things and they're trying new things out, which I really glad that they have that opportunity. And then here's our current season for spring. Again, this is the white is the number of students participating, and the blue is the graduating class. And then these are the numbers per sport. So these are the sports in yellow that we currently offer. So it's equal right now, the opportunities for boys and girls. If you see it unhighlighted, these are other sports that New York State Public High School Athletic Association offer and other school districts might have. So for instance, we have golf for boys, but we don't have golf for girls. We don't field any ice hockey teams. We don't field any unified sports, which are sports for students with disabilities. We did in the past, in the 90s, have tennis, but we don't have any longer. But you can see we do have softball, we do have boys and girls lacrosse. So some sports are emerging sports. So flag football and girls wrestling are emerging, which means that they don't have a state championship yet, but the state is building traction because you've heard from other presentations from community members that those things are becoming popular amongst the country and in our state and our area. So as more students gain interest, they're working towards budgets at the state athletic association to be able to offer state championships in those things. Not next year, but hopefully within 2 or 3 years from now.
The flag football for girls is really getting
Picking up in some
It
places,
is,
yeah. So when we think about sports offerings, these are the federal and New York State Education Department regulations that we have to follow. So Title IX is one of them. So we have to provide equal opportunities and not discriminate based on sex. So when I'm always looking from my lens as a director, making sure that the enrollment of boys and girls sports, the number of team offerings, making sure the equipment and the amount of funding that we give to purchase those things are equitable, making sure when I do schedules that, that the early and late slot for the gym is fair for boys and girls, making sure that the transportation, coaching has the same opportunity, that the dugouts are similar or the same, for softball and baseball. So those are things under Title IX. Mixed competition is when the opposite gender plays on a sport that's not offered to them, and that was just updated in December. So this will be interesting how it's navigated in the future moving on. In the past here at Whitney Point, we have had boys play volleyball, we've had boys play field hockey, we've had boys on cheerleading, we've had girls, and we do currently have girls on golf. We've had girls on football in the past, and we've had girls on wrestling. So the issue comes forward is if a unfair advantage of someone in that opposite sex, then it could be a Title IX issue, and it depends if someone files a complaint or not. So we'll see, because they lifted some of the credentials for the fitness testing this year from the state education department. We'll see if more students of the opposite gender are interested in sports that is not offered to them. And then you know about the athletic placement process. We have a board policy where 7th and 8th graders can move up to junior varsity and varsity if they are physically, emotionally, academically, and competitively ready to do that. So when we think about, which we haven't had since girls lacrosse, the opportunity to add a new sport, back in about 2007, 2008, we had tough fiscal times, and we had a contingent budget. Some of you were on the board then, and we had to, really, take a hard look at the athletic program and we had to reduce some things. Slowly, we've thrown things back, but in the interest of adding new sports, we have these talking points that we can work with a future committee to think about how we could add new opportunities such as growth and development for students. Is there sufficient interest by surveying students? Will the new sport impact the current sports we already have? Is there a long-range plan how to develop it from youth to varsity? What is the impact for Title IX and are we equitable between boys and girls? Do we have the financial resources, the facilities and transportation? Do we have qualified coaches that could secure those staffing positions and event staff? From scorekeepers to ticket takers to announcers to officials, and do the section and league provide a schedule that sport could participate. So those are some good things that a committee could review if a proposal was put forth.
Real quick, Murphy, on that slide that you're on right now.
Yep.
So we've talked about, we know there's been significant interest in the girls wrestling program,
Correct.
as you're aware. So this criteria here, this would be considered criteria that you would look at, and a policy be written to determine whether or not a sport would be offered at Whitney Point School District. Is that what you're saying?
This is a starting point,
Okay.
definitely for
Starting point.
criteria.
Okay,
And these talking points came from the National Federation of High School Athletics.
okay,
So other school districts have used a similar protocol to
Okay.
review how they would bring new extracurricular activities to their program.
yeah, I think that's a really good list, because it's everything we really need to consider before even going that route, but just wanted to ask
And
that question.
when eventually, if something were to come forth, it also has to be approved by the Board of Education, a new program for
Yeah.
athletics.
Okay. Thank you.
One of my favorite things to do is, I'm part of the state Student Leadership Committee, and I am able to work at the state level and help with the state conference. I also am one of the advisors for Section 4 for student leadership, and it's just so rewarding. So on my right is the kids in Section 4 got to go to the first state conference, and you'll see Jenna Bidwell in that picture, and Jenna has been one of the local leaders, so she's been going to every other month either to an in-person or a Zoom meeting, and she collaborates with other Section 4 student athletes, and they, as students, put on an entire conference. They had to organize the conference, they had to come up with the sessions, they had to teach the sessions, they had to come up with a schedule, they had to do the lunch, and I'm one of the advisors with two others in the section to help develop that. And then on the picture on my left, those are the Whitney Point students that got to attend that at the forum, and they just really enjoyed learning about nutrition and learning about college recruiting, and there was a keynote speaker, and they got to see other student athletes in a different capacity other than just playing at the forum. There was about 300 kids across the section that got to go.
That's awesome.
So it's really rewarding because it gives them those leadership skills that they need, pursue, jobs and careers in college. And we just celebrated 2 Division I signings. Brenna Bow will go on a scholarship to Ohio State and join her sister in 1 season to play field hockey. Bryson Smith will play football at Wagner College in Long Island. And on June 5th, which is Monday, is the college showcase, and all of the kids in any college that they're going to be playing sports, we have that lovely event where they will all be celebrated and have a reception in the cafeteria.
Love it.
These are our athletes who have earned scholars. This is 90 or above, and you have to be on a high school sport. So we had 47 student athletes in the fall, 17 in the winter, and 30 that achieved 90 or above while playing a sport. These are students that play 3 sports at the high school level. So there's 26 of them. In the past, that number has been larger prior to COVID. but we could not run some of our sports programs unless these students make a commitment to do multiple sports. So we're very appreciative that they balance. And if you look at those names, those students are involved with art and music and drama. Some of them work, some of them, volunteer in their churches and local organizations. So I really commend them for being well-rounded and learning new things. This is the coaching staff. I'm very thankful, as you can see listed here. We always appreciate everything the coaches do in the classroom and beyond. And many of them coach multiple sports throughout the season and take a lot of time and commitment away from their families, or their own children are part of the athletic programs here at Whitney Point. So, we couldn't do all the good work in sports without them. The other great partner that we have is UHS. These pictures are live and in person, and the relationships that Lindsay and Kyle have with the kids are just fantastic. And this service allows the nurse practitioner, our occupational exams for all of our bus drivers, our strength and conditioning and athletic trainer, and our physical exams for our students K-12, as well as our sports physical exams. So this is all of the things that Lindsay is responsible for, but things that are most impressive to me when watching and observing her is how she interacts with families and parents, how she attends to injuries of students that are even ours and opposing teams, how she's able to get appointments and have doctors be able to collaborate for the students' wellness very quickly versus having to be on a wait list. So without her collaboration, some of the times students wouldn't get care as speedy as he'd be able to provide it. Kyle has, really developed in the year and a half, 2 years that he's been here. He's now working with 13 teams. It's helped our kids be bigger, faster, and stronger, have better functional movement, and reduce injuries. And he's constantly probably one of the most popular people, because when we're looking for kids and where they're supposed to be, they're usually in the weight room because they love being in there working out. And I'm just so proud every time I think about all the things that Courtney Ellis Jameson as a alumni, but she is amazing. She has done 146 physicals this year already for second, fourth, seventh, and 10th grade. She's done 152 physicals just for sports exams. She's here every Tuesday. She answers any call, any email, stops on her way home from work to the district. She has got our virtual visits up and running. She's got medications to be able to have them here at school. She's helped us with our policy. She helped us navigate COVID. She's really put lots of systems in places, and she really helps with professional development and having the nurses have someone to call when they have some consultation and questions. And the Booster Club, we're always so thankful each month that they meet, and they have so many great ideas, and they really support and complement the athletic program here at Whitney Point with Spirit Weeks and the community events and senior recognition. And last summer, we had summer camps for the first time, and we've offered summer camps with the academic camps, and these are the listing of opportunities that students were able to participate for sports as well as wellness and phys ed. And I just wanted to thank the board and the district office for always supporting my endeavors, because it's helped me grow professionally. But I, as mentioned before, as part of the Student Athlete Development Committee, I was able this year to be the president of New York State ACRD, which is the professional organization for the entire state. And I got to lead the entire conference for 5 days. And that's my keynote speaker, Kevin Atlas, who has, as you can see, a short arm and was the first Division I basketball player. He spoke to all the health and phys ed teachers across the state, and the work that I've gotten to do with colleagues across, all parts of Buffalo and Albany and New York City. And it's just fascinating. I also was able to be on the awards committee at the national level, and I was fortunate enough to win the Distinguished Service Award. That's in Nashville, Tennessee, receiving that award based on that committee work. And I'm able to be part of the New York State Athletic Administrative Association, and I was the first female president for that association ever after 30 years, and that was in 2017, and I'm still heavily involved in that association. But all of those opportunities allow me to bring ideas back to Whitney Point and to share that knowledge with the teachers and students. So you already heard about the capital project. We're super excited. Everybody is constantly asking and thinking about the future. May it be the pool. And I have to say, we are commended across Broome County as having one of the best pool programs and K-12 instruction and aquatics. So we're looking forward to that in the new venue. And I know everybody is eagerly waiting for me to get the fall schedules done, so I can put many sports teams within reason when the has been released, and you know, the district has the ability to use this new venue. So thank you for you know, all the hard work you've done as a board to provide these facilities. So I know that was a lot, but I thank you, and didn't know if you have any more questions.
I have a follow-up question about the girls wrestling. Are we going to move forward in considering starting a girls wrestling team?
So we're gonna,
Next year?
we're gonna move forward and start this protocol.
Right, that's what I meant, is that
Yes,
we're
so
gonna,
then they will submit that request, and then we'll go through that process, and we'll have to do all of these things. It's one of the, we've not had that. We haven't had, I mean, as Murphy just explained, what we've experienced is cutting back on sports
Right.
many years ago, and we haven't really had anything added on other than just, you know, maybe adding some coaches to some teams. So we haven't had a process, and we should have. So
Okay.
we're gonna
but
develop
we're
that.
going to move forward and at least go
Yeah, yeah.
through the protocol to
Yes.
see if it's something that we should and can.
Yeah, and for, you know, because that request came here, but there are other requests that have, you know.
I've had people and students ask about tennis and boys swimming recently too.
Great.
So we would put those requests through similar process.
Wondering.
Other questions?
I would just like to say, I really appreciate you going in depth on everything that you work on and how well the school has done and the programs that we offer and all of the exciting things. This is the first time I've ever seen, because when you think about, you know, physical education and health and athletics, I think you went above and beyond in your presentation, and I'm grateful for it because it gives me a better understanding of what you do for the school district and everything that you're aware of, like the different protocols and the processes and everything that you follow to a T. I know you can rattle off things because I've seen you do it. And so I appreciate that, because there's all these things I don't understand why we do it. And it's not that you're creating a policy out of your head. It's something that you're following because we're required to. So I just like to say, I really appreciate the presentation and the amount of work that you put into it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And some of the things that Murphy talks about, like Title IX violation.
Yeah.
Turns into, if you don't have your eye on that. It
Yes.
turns into a really big deal. for the
Yes.
district, You know, so.
So we appreciate that you have your eye on it.
I just want to say that I appreciate the fact that, how much you have touched the programs across the state and here. I was in sports a lot my whole life, so I've been in that, but I've also seen students that have really struggled in phys ed and they hate to go. So looking at some other aspects and working as teams and looking at things and being more civil, I think that that's great, because that will encourage these students to be healthier as they go forward, and they won't hate sports or hate being active. And then even more so with the health that what our programs do here. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, I didn't realize how messed up the state was with the health department or the health program. So those are great too, the things that our students really should be aware of. So thank you for that as well. I did have one thing that as a concern, and it is not the timing, and it has nothing to do with the wrestling program, but I think you mentioned that we have a lot of students who are 3-sport athletes, that without them, we wouldn't be able to field the teams that we have now. I'm just concerned, and I know I've seen over the years that our graduating classes are getting smaller and smaller, and I do believe that they should have a lot of different opportunities. But I think the community should look at it, and again, I'm not saying it for wrestling, but I'm saying for all the sports that people want to throw out there, our community cannot sustain as many sports programs as Binghamton or Union Endicott. And we've had some really good teams, we've had some real good coaches, but it gets to a point of diminishing returns. And if you fracture these teams up and try to offer so many things, then you'll have a lot of nothing.
You end up diluting.
It'll be,
Probably in the protocol, that's a great
well,
comment.
no, yeah, it was. I
Yeah.
know all those things that were on there, but I mean, it's always great to try to see, like, this would be wonderful, this would be wonderful. But realistically, to look at what we have to field, and like you said, that the people that are involved in everything. And it's just something to keep in mind. I'm not against anything. I think it's wonderful, but it's just something that realistically would have to be looked at. So I'm glad that all those criteria are listed up there as well. So again, thank you for all that you do. It makes our district so much stronger and better. I mean, here locally and how you represent us across the state and the country. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your
Well,
time.
I'm gonna have to say something.
Oh, good.
All right, let it rip. Murphy knows me. I'm a certified health education specialist too. That's my degree, and Murphy was my teacher at one time.
I didn't know that about.
I just want to thank you, Murphy. Health has gone through a lot, and you're right, the standards need that work, the shape standards are coming through, we're seeing that. Even the college setting teachers are really struggling, and the fact that we are constantly looking at the psychomotor, the cognitive, and the affective domains for our children to make sure they know and feel that. COVID has created a passion for health teachers. They are part of that learning process with the social workers, the counselors in our school districts. That's part of their job. And I appreciate what you're doing with them. I've been a presenter at AFIT. I know what honor that is for you. And I just want to say congratulations and thank you for all you've done. And I do want to again say, I would love to see an elementary health teacher in the school district because I think we need it beyond helping our children to understand what they need in life skills and what they're doing. And I again appreciate everything you have done. And I'm sure your mother is too.
She appreciates you every day. She always tells me how you rescue her.
Thank you so much, Murphy. Very nice.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yay! I'm learning all these new things about you tonight. Like 3 things I learned about you.
Okay, approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Brian.
Hey, can I just say something though? I will miss Courtney. It's been great to my student teachers. They've liked working with her. It's been a passion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstains? Retirement resignation, for Marcia Stahl, District Office Secretary Typist, effective June 30th, 2023. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom.
Sadly, second.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, we're super sad. If you ever call the district office, you know what a wonderful, uplifting person Marcia is. She's warm and giving and, you know, happy with everybody who comes in, but she also does a ton of work. She takes care of all sorts of things. So Marcia, may or may not know that she started as a classroom aide. I remember very well. In September 99, she then went on to be the guidance office secretary, and she was that for quite a while. And then she moved into the district office in March of 2017. I'm just saying, it seems like longer than that because her presence is such a, you know, it's so
But you
profound.
also worked with her in other
I know,
areas.
I know, but yes, she's, but she's, in every position that she's held, she, just is a ray of sunshine, and she's just so giving and caring. And, She will be one list.
Be brightly after her mother. And long.
We're gonna miss her mother on baking
Mother
too.
He's that right. You know her mother though.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? We do have resignation on the addenda. Approve the resignation of Matthew Brown, maintenance worker, effective May 12th, 2023. May I have a motion? Thank you, Brian. And second?
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? The appointments, be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District approve the 4-year probationary appointment of Heidi Barron, social studies teacher in the social studies teacher tenure area effective September 1st, 2023. The probationary period of September 1st, 2023 through August 31st, 2027 is tentative and conditional only, except to the extent required by the applicable provisions of section 3012 of the education law. In order to be granted tenure, the teacher must receive composite or overall annual performance review ratings pursuant to education law section 3012-D of either effective or highly effective for the required number of years. And if the teacher receives an ineffective composite or overall rating in the final year of the probationary period, the teacher shall not be eligible for tenure at that time. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions or comments?
So this position is to fill Rebecca Malloy's spot, and Heidi is working with us now. She's actually working on her certification in special ed, so she's in as a long-term sub in special ed for us right now. She was an apprentice at the beginning of the year. So if you know her, you know.
Good. But she has her social studies.
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the appointment of Miriam Maslin, full-time teacher's aide, effective May 17th, 2023. May I have a motion? Thank you, Tom. And was that you, Chris? Any questions or comments?
This is to fill the position Crystal Spencer.
Are you going to have to abstain? I wasn't sure. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? And then again to the addenda, because I like the big changes. Be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District approve the 4-year probationary appointment of Mackenzie Grimes, elementary teacher in the elementary teacher tenure effective September 1st, 2023. The probationary period of September 1st, 2023 through August 31st, 2027 is tentative and conditional only, except to the extent required by the applicable provisions of section 3012 of the education law. In order to be granted tenure, the teacher must receive composite or overall annual performance review ratings pursuant to education law 3012-D of either effective or highly effective for the required number of years. And if the teacher receives an ineffective composite or overall rating in the final year, excuse me, I'm sorry. Happens when I read long stuff. The final year of the probationary period, the teacher shall not be eligible for tenure at that time. May I have a motion? I heard Eddie and Chris.
Mackenzie is here. And we do know Mackenzie because she's been working at the CEA, doing her student teaching and doing a great job. And she's now going to join us officially in what was Stephanie Ewald's position.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No. I'm just so happy for you.
Thank you.
I'm
And
really
I'm
excited.
staying.
I'm just so happy that the college has been able to start working with a program where we bring our students early in. And she actually was able to be at the CEA last fall, started, and then was able to continue on as a student teacher. So she really got to be here for a whole year, and we're trying to do this more at the college level to really infuse our students and make sure that they're getting the education they need and become great teachers. So I appreciate both the district and Mackenzie for her great effort.
I like the relationship that we have with Portland because it's mutually beneficial. We get teachers who know our district and want to be here, and Portland gets experience for their students, and which helps with placement rates for you guys.
Yep.
Helps us with getting quality teachers, so
And
congratulations.
Yeah.
And with the vote now official, congratulations and
Yeah.
welcome in this capacity.
And I just want to say one more thing. Now, I didn't mention it when Murphy's presentation, but my student teachers and my practicum students are shocked at how much physical education our students get in this district. So kudos on that piece. I was gonna say that in Murphy's presentation. They are just amazed how much that our children get here and that our children constantly are doing active engagement in the classroom. So, again, just kudos, Murphy, for everything you're doing.
Murphy, I'm glad your boss is here to hear all this.
I was doing your observation.
I figured you were.
I noticed she had the same dress on, though, that she had in one of the pictures.
Oh, I think that one had squares on it, just like.
I don't think it was the same exact
Sometimes
one.
my wardrobe starts to look alike, and I have to stop talking so much.
Well, you know what you like. You know, it's like me. I find a shirt I like, I buy it in every color I like, so. Okay, be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District approve the 4-year probationary appointment of Dylan Nardoci, math teacher, and the math teacher tenure effective May 17th, 2023. The probationary period of May 17th, 2023 through May 16th, 2027 is tentative and conditional only. Except to the extent required by the applicable provisions of section 3012 of the education law, in order to be granted tenure, the teacher must receive composite or overall annual performance review ratings pursuant to education law section 3012-B of either effective or highly effective for the required number of years. If the teacher receives an ineffective composite or overall rating in the final year of the probationary period, the teacher shall not be eligible for tenure at that time. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris.
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. Any questions or comments?
So Dylan also has been here and working, and he had to have him technically as a long-term sub because his certification was in business. And he helped us out when we needed a math teacher. We did a hybrid business math position, but he's now gotten his math certification, so, yeah.
Excellent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the appointment of Brad Kenneth, bus monitor, subject to fingerprint clearance.
So moved.
Thank you, Tiana. And the second,
Second.
thank you, Tom. Any questions or comments?
Just that we always have a need.
Yes. No, no need to explain there.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay. Tenure recommendation. Approve the tenure recommendation for Meredith Scott, elementary teacher, effective September 1st, 2023. May I have a motion? Thank you, Brian.
Second.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions or comments?
We're very happy that Meredith is working here. She does a great job, and I think as we discussed at our last, talk about tenure, you could see that that was the case. Yeah. Well deserved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Approve the tenure recommendation for Lisa Tuttle, reading teacher, effective September 1st, 2023. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris. In a second.
Second.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions or comments?
Very well deserved, and Lisa is here.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. I've really enjoyed working in this district. I've been fortunate to be in the CEA and the TRA building. And every single administrator and teacher and support staff and students, everyone has just been working together and been very supportive of each other. Really a lovely community. I've been in a lot of schools throughout the state and you don't always see that. So,
Thank you for sharing that, and congratulations.
thank you.
Very nice.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. Resolution of the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District regarding a State Environmental Quality Review Act determination for the proposed project. At the regular meeting of the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District, Bourbon County, New York, held at 10 Kybel Road, Whitney Point, New York, at 7 p.m. on the 16th day of May 2023. Whereas the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District Board is proposing to undertake a $100,000 capital outlay project consisting of construction and renovations, including incidentals and expenses related to select roof system and parapet system replacement at the Tiapanoga Riverside Academy, the project. And whereas the board wishes to fully comply with its obligations under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SEQR, and the regulations thereunder with respect to the proposed action. And whereas the board has carefully considered the nature and the scope of the proposed action. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District, Bourbon County, New York, as follows. Section 1. The proposed action involves replacement of select roofing and parapet systems at the Tiapanoga Riverside Academy. Section 2. The Board of Education hereby declares itself lead agency pursuant to SEQR. Section 3, the review will not be a coordinated review. Section 4, the proposed project represents the replacement, rehabilitation, or reconstruction of a structure or facility in kind on the same site within the meaning of 6 NYCRR 617.5 C2 and or represents routine activities of educational institutions, including expansion of existing facilities by less than 10,000 square feet of gross floor area within the meaning of 6 NYCRR 617.5 C11. Section 5, the proposed action is a type 2 action within the meaning of 6 NYCRR 617.5 and is therefore not subject to review under SEQR and the regulations thereunder. Resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Eddie.
Second.
Thank you, Chris.
I didn't understand it. Can you read it again?
I'd be happy to. Do you really want to sit through it again? Any questions or comments?
So again, we always have to do a secret in order to get a project on file with the state. This is our annual capital outlay projects. This scope item was actually determined by project alternate and this last $27 million project that we did not select. But when we saw the prices come in, we realized it would be a good fit for the TRA for a $100,000 outlay project. So we still get the work done, and yeah, again, it's work that needs to be done.
Yeah. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
Never ending group issues.
Okay, one more thing on the addendum. Whereas the Whitney Point Central School District did open for public bid according to general municipal law, the following bid number WP 232401 bus maintenance, and whereas the bids were publicly opened and read on 5/10/2023 at 1 p.m. at the BOE Central Business Office, be it resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools and the purchasing agent that the bid for WP 23-24-01 bus maintenance be awarded to New York Bus Sales for maintenance services on buses and other equipment for the attached rates. May I have a motion? Thank you, Chris.
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. Any questions or comments?
So this is our existing, really maintenance agreement for our buses with New York Bus Sales. We were doing year-to-year renewals with them. They let us know, there's kind of a cap on how you can increase those renewals, and it's by the CPI, by the state, so they're a cap. So right now, the biggest increase they can go out for would be an 8% on their contract. Just like everything else, they approached us a few months ago to say they needed to bid this back out because their costs have gone up more than that 8%. So we were a little nervous again when we knew we had to bid this out, because that opens it up to any other company that would want to try to take that on. We had it publicly out there for a required amount of time. No other company bid on it, but there is a pretty big bump in these services, which again is a direct result of the price increases in the maintenance service that they provide. Just so you know, it's about a 30% increase in cost. We do get 90% of that back the following year, 90% back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I mean, that does help.
Okay,
So again, basically it's a, bigger cost next year. I did bump up the budget for it, not quite as high as that, so it's a little bit out of budget, but it'll be okay.
okay, good to hear that. That is a big change.
Yeah.
Any questions from the board? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District participate in cooperative bidding for the following bids with other school districts in New York State. Grocery, once per school year. Paper products, twice per school year. Meat, cheese, and dairy, every 4 months. Processing of USDA commodities, once per school year. Milk products, once per school year. Ice cream and other frozen desserts, once per school year. Bread products, once per school year. Small wares, once per school year. Geographical preference for fruit, vegetables, once per school year. Breakfast bag meals, once per school year. Vending drinks, once per school year, and produce, once per school year. Be it further resolved that Annie Hudak, Senior Director of Food Services from Tioga BOCES or designee, be designated to receive and open said bids, and be it further resolved that the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District reserves the right to accept or reject any or all bids. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tiana. And a second?
Second.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions or comments?
I just have one question, Zach. So I know these are a lot once a year, but what happens if, like, there's a really great local producer that's doing stuff and producing lots of stuff? Does BOCES grab a hold of that locally, or?
Yeah, we see that with the geological preference bid.
Okay,
That's where we get like Russell Farms and some of the other more local vendors get into the mix.
okay,
It also contributes to like the New York Thursdays where we try to, advertise, locally sourced products.
okay.
So there is a mechanism for that.
Okay, thanks, Zach.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay, the last day of school information for the Whitney Point Central School District. The last day of school for all students, pre-K through 8, will be half days on Thursday, June 22nd, and Friday, June 23rd. The last day of school for high school students will be on Tuesday, June 13th. Regents and final exams will be held Wednesday, June 14th through Friday, June 16th, and Tuesday, June 20th through Thursday, June 22nd. The last day for teachers will be a full day on Friday, June 23rd. The last day for the staff unit, aides and food service workers will be a full day on Friday, June 23rd, 2023. Since we don't have the vote ready to certify yet, how about if we go to superintendent update?
Few things, First of all, let's acknowledge the beautiful artwork there that, the art department always shares with us for our board meetings. We appreciate that, and it speaks to the incredible talent of our students and, the great instruction that our teachers provide. So I really appreciate them doing that for our board meetings. You also got to see some of the tiles in the ceilings when we were walking around today. I always like when we get to show that off. It's like a really cool thing.
Yeah.
as noted, graduation is the 23rd. We're gonna have students in session, half day, all the way up until graduation day. But also if you want to start to think about who's gonna attend graduation and then, let Stacy know that would be great. I was gonna talk about the athletic protocol and we already covered that because during Murphy's, that's great. I'm just gonna also mention again, we did talk about the fact that summer programming, for the most part, is gonna be at the TRA this summer because of all the work that's happening here. There is a little bit of work that's happening down there, but we don't think it's gonna impede the programming at all. And we have lots of outdoor spaces that we can use there. I also wanted to note too that as we mentioned earlier, that we are gonna look for inventive ways to get kids moving and outside and take little trips in their summer enrichment program a little more than usual because we don't have the pool. And we're gonna be, the pool was nice enough to allow us to access their pool for our summer program, so we're gonna have buses going back and forth there. Nice. Yeah. Last meeting, we had a presentation from Smith Brothers. I think that the board maybe needs to have some conversation about whether we want to make a change. As you mentioned, it would not be changing our insurance company, it'd be a change in our broker. We have been using Tri-Town for, as long as I know, but there have been some issues recently. And Smith Brothers did the presentation, although they had some technical issues during that last time, but they've really grown their work with school districts.
No, I mean, I think we have noticed, again, just a lack of staffing that office over the years. And their lack of responsiveness has not been great. We were trying to get some things done for the project bids. And we needed some information from the insurance carrier, and honestly, they were AWOL for about 3 or 4 weeks. No real explanation of why. Again, on top of that, we did do the RFP, which, we're legally bound to go out every so often. Doesn't mean you need to change it, but again, as we're always audited, those are one of those things they ask, you've been with the same insurance broker for 30 years, have you RFP'd it? We did RFP, we made sure we gave it directly to Tri-Town to respond. They did not, which is interesting. Smith Brothers was the only one that did. Again, I had a presentation last meeting, so you guys got to see who they were, who they work with. But it's kind of close to now, our renewal would be effective July 1. So if we were going to change brokers, we would pretty much need to know what direction to move forward with. My recommendation would be to change to move forward with Smith Brothers.
Yeah. I liked their presentation. I thought they did a good job.
Yep.
And I thought they did a really good job at managing the technical difficulties that we had, so, and they proved themselves well done.
Well, and I don't think we can afford to stay with a company that goes AWOL and is not responsive because yes, it was in situations where we could work around it. Heaven forbid, should we have a situation where we need a response immediately, and we don't get one.
That's how I see it.
I do think that we should make the switch. Especially since they did not respond to the RFP.
Agreed.
Okay, I will move forward. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anything else for you?
No, just a reminder, we do an executive session.
Yeah. That brings us to our second opportunity from comments from the public. Please remember that the whole big long statement that I read earlier stays the same for our second opportunity. Is there anybody who would like to say anything? Okay, that brings us to Board of Education comments. The only thing I have a comment on is a reminder to everybody that the superintendent review is due to Stacy on June 1st. That gives her time to compile all of our individual reviews into one. And the plan is to have an executive session at our next meeting on June the 5th or the 6th. Sixth, yes. June sixth, we'll have an executive session so that we have the opportunity to discuss that. Okay,
I did send information.
Yeah.
From info, I did get the information that I was asked to get for the board. And I did send it, Stacy and, Stephanie, yeah, Stacy and Stephanie, and they do have a great new document to do, superintendent evaluations that I hope that we get a chance to look at and stop using this sort of convoluted evaluation process that
well,
we
my
have.
hope is that maybe you and I can work together between now and our next meeting. Get a document together that we can share with the rest of the board, and then we can discuss.
Yeah.
What everybody likes, dislikes, and go from there.
It's really a really nice document.
I agree.
It's been done by lawyers, it's great, so. It pulled it up, so it'd be nice for us to look at.
Yes.
It's been a goal of our board for what, 2 or 3 years now?
But if you and I can work together and kind of parse that together and, so that we're not all starting from scratch, it'll give us a place to jump off of.
Starting point, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have anything else?
Joanne, real quick, with the electronic votes, did we have an anticipated timeframe since it's electronic?
That's what we're talking about over here.
I know, I was like, well, obviously, the last year was hand, right? So I was just curious, sorry.
There were still quite a few absentee ballots that are a little bit of a different process.
Oh, okay,
So I think they're
gotcha.
still trying to, go through that, but
Okay.
I've texted Stacy a couple times, I haven't heard any update on it.
Okay,
Does the same tech who had to get us started?
Close it out. I
Yeah,
don't think there's any, I mean, he's on like basically on call.
okay, I was just wondering, since he got held up at another school
Yeah.
earlier, could that be affecting?
Possibly, I don't have an update yet. I've
we had a lot of people about.
texted her twice, I haven't heard anything. I'm sure she's
Is it
busy trying to get it
normal?
done. I don't know, sorry.
Um,
You wanna have an executive session? Can we do that?
I'd really hate for us to go away and have an executive session and have her come back to.
Okay.
Do we want to recess the meeting until the
Yeah.
vote comes back?
Yeah,
Okay, so could I have a motion to recess the meeting until, the vote is ready to certify?
Some of,
Thank you,
Second.
Chris and Tiana. And all those in favor? Any opposed? Any abstain? Okay.
at least you folks can leave it one.
This is a long board meeting. I promise they're not all like this.
You know, it was Murphy's presentation.
It was.
And to be honest,
I
I
was
think
trying to fill up the time before the.
to be honest with you, Murphy, it was well worth the time.
Some of them are longer. And not as
Oh,
long,
no.
but regular, oh, that's easy now with that. It's not.
Yeah. You were, I guess, my favorite meeting ever.
Oh, it's so really.
It looks like some of the poll workers are leaving, so perhaps.
Oh, it does. Does look like that.
with the new board members coming on, do I get to chip? Good, I would like to request. to chip. I'd like to move down. You wanna know why?
Because you're cold.
You got it. This is awful.
There's 3 meetings, so you're.
Oh, well, yeah, you're right. I'm gonna move down. I'm already making the executive decision.
You're gonna go down at least 3 spots.
I'm moving down, darn it.
You have seniority.
Moving on up.
I'm moving on up, that's right.
Well, you know, moving down free isn't gonna get you any warmer though.
Well, let's see. And
And even moving to Tom's spot. is
Sat
gonna
in
get
that
you-
cold
Chris, it's
draft
awful.
for 5 years.
I'm freezing.
I know.
I'm usually not, but tonight was,
I
oh, there
always-
she is.
Okay, so
Good night, thank you for coming.
could I have a motion to reconvene to our regular meeting at 9:02?
So moved.
You guys,
Tiana.
you waste,
All in favor?
I, case next week, you got to down there.
Who was the second? Who was the second?
Tiana,
Motion, I don't do. Yeah. Motion on.
So exciting. I remember this last year.
yeah, you were Ally, I was partying.
I was partying without knowing the result. I don't know.
Stephanie.
Yeah.
Talk about optimism.
Both leaving and coming back in were Chris and Tiana.
Thank you.
At 9:00 and 9:02.
Thank you.
Here, the fan's off. It's been on all night and now it's off and I've been freezing.
You know, if you get cold, you can ask us to turn. the
I
fan
know,
on.
but Stacy was gone and normally she's the one that does that.
I know how to do it.
Maybe the district can spring for some nice, like, sports, those like.
Yeah, nice.
Take it for the swim team, that's what you.
Nice. I haven't been home yet. I left for work this morning at 6:30 to Syracuse.
Make sure I wrote everything down correctly.
You got crazy schedule too, don't you?
I passed you the other day.
Oh, you did?
I waved you and you just get my.
Oh, sometimes I get my zone, Chris.
I speed, you speed faster.
I get my zone. All right.
Being resolved upon recommendation of the superintendent that the Board of Education of the Whitney Point Central School District approve the certification of the vote as follows. Proposition 1, budget vote. Number of votes recorded as voting yes, 184. Number of votes recorded as voting no, 70. Number of votes void, 3. Total number of votes cast, 257. Proposition 2, school vehicle vote. Number of votes recorded as voting yes, 182. Number of votes recorded as voting no, 72. Number of votes void, 3. Total number of votes cast, 257. Proposition 3, capital reserve fund vote. Number of votes recorded as voting yes, 182. Number of votes recorded as voting no, 71. Number of votes void, 3. Total number of votes cast, 256. Board members elected, Molly Willis with 175 votes. Tom Tasper, 170. Thomas McGrath, 164, and Eric Scully, 152. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Tiana, and a second.
Second.
And Tom. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
Congratulations. Welcome to the team.
And thank you to everybody who took the time to come out and vote today.
Welcome.
Our budget has passed, so has the school vehicle vote. The
Wonderful.
capital reserve fund has passed, and we have one returning board member and 3 new board members.
This is exciting stuff.
Okay, we need to adjourn the public meeting at 9:07 PM. Excuse me, recess. The public meeting at 9:07 PM to adjourn to executive session to hear discussion on personnel.
Congratulations, Molly. Look forward to seeing you. Congratulations, Eric. Look forward to seeing you as well. Have a good night, guys.
Well.
May I have a motion. So moved. Thank you, Chris, and a second.
Second.
Thank you, Tiana. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain?
Oh, okay.
And then. And text.
Back and Shannon.
They are.
Oh,
Okay. Okay.
Did you want? Is there a section you want up here? and-
I'm glad you said that, so you can help me out.
Okay.
Zach, this is all fine.
Oh.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.